Florida is one of the easiest places in the country to fall in love with a house, but one of the easiest places to buy the wrong one. Because the biggest risks here don't just jump out during a sunny daytime showing. They're hiding in the flood map, the roof condition, the permit history, the building's reserve study, the seawall, the cast iron plumbing, and the insurance rules that can change your monthly costs overnight. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 5 types of homes that I personally avoid buying in Florida, and I'll show you the red flags that tell me instantly this is not worth it, even when it looks perfect online. If you're moving here from out of state, this is exactly how people get burned. They buy the dream and then they inherit the problems. And in Florida, the problems can get expensive fast. So I'm gonna go one by one as you're watching, and think of this like a filter. You're not trying to find the perfect house. You're trying to eliminate the houses that can quietly wreck your budget, your time, and your resale value. Let's start with the first type of home that I avoid. The first type is a house where the location has hidden daily life problems or future problems that you won't notice unless you visit a house more than once. In Florida, the house can photograph beautifully, the street can look quiet, and the backyard can feel peaceful, but what's around you matters more than what most people realize. You want to zoom out and understand what you're truly buying into. You might be near a commercial corridor that's quiet on the weekends but loud and busy all week. You might be near a road that becomes a racetrack at night. You might be close enough to an airport, a train line, or a port route, or an industrial zone with noise traffic that never really stops. Or you might be buying into an area where the next phase of development is about to change everything around you. And Florida has another aspect to consider that's even bigger, and that's water. 2 streets can live totally different lives when a storm hits. A property that has never flooded can still sit in a flood zone or a drainage pattern that becomes a problem when you get a major rain event. So when you're evaluating a location, you're not just asking, do I like this neighborhood? You're asking, how does this place behave at 7:30 a.m., at 10:30 p.m., and during a nasty weather week? A practical way to do it is to check a flood map, check the elevation feel in person, and then do a simple drive-by at different times. If it feels dramatically different depending on the hour, that's a clue. The second type of home I avoid is a house that looks move-in ready, but the insurance and documentation picture is a mess, especially the roof and storm protection. In Florida, your roof is not just a roof. It's one of the biggest factors that can decide what you pay to own the house every month, and sometimes whether your home is even straightforward to insure. I've seen buyers fall in love with a house, negotiate hard, and finally get under contract, and then the insurance quote comes back and it changes the entire deal. So what are the red flags? First, a roof with unclear age, unclear permits, or missing paperwork. Second, a house where major improvements were done, but you can't verify they were done properly or permitted. Third, storm protection that sounds good in conversation but doesn't hold up on paper, like windows that may or may not be impact rated, shutters that aren't actually compliant, or a new roof that was done in a way that doesn't give you the credits that you thought you'd get. This is why I tell people to think of Florida homes like underwriting a small business. You're not just buying the vibe, you're buying the risk profile. If the paperwork is sloppy and the story doesn't match the records, or if you're hearing a lot of trust me instead of seeing clean documentation, that's when I slow down. A clean house on paper is often more valuable than a prettier house with a confusing history or unpermitted work. The third type of home I avoid is the house with hidden plumbing and drainage problems, especially older plumbing systems that more often than not turn into a surprise renovation. Florida has plenty of older housing stock, and some of it is amazing, but some of it comes with plumbing realities that buyers don't understand until it's too late. Cast iron plumbing is a big example. On the outside, everything can look fine. Inside, the bathrooms can be renovated, the kitchen can be renovated, the floors can be beautiful, and underneath, you can be dealing with pipes that are at the end of their life. When cast iron begins to fail, it doesn't politely announce itself. It can show up as repeated clogs, slow drains, sewer odor, or water damage that seems to come out of nowhere. And it can show up right when you least expect it, after you move in. And depending on the house layout and how repairs have to be done, the fix can be very disruptive and expensive. The red flag is an older house. The red flag is an older house where nobody can speak clearly about the plumbing, where you're seeing signs of repeated patchwork or repairs, or where a basic sewer inspection should have been done and it wasn't. In Florida, water and plumbing issues don't just affect comfort, they affect resale. Buyers get educated really fast when they hear the words cast iron, poly B, galvanized, or major drain line work. So if you're buying older, don't shy away from thorough due diligence. The fourth type of home that I avoid is the waterfront property that comes with underwater obligations that you're not prepared for. Waterfront can be incredible in Florida. It's one of the best lifestyles in the country, but the costs are not just a little bit higher. They can be in a different universe if the seawall, dock, pilings, lift, or marine building components are aging or poorly maintained. Seawalls do not last forever. Docks and lifts do not last forever. And salt, sun, and storms accelerate wear in ways that people don't appreciate until they own it. A good waterfront purchase is still possible, but it's only a good purchase when you treat the seawall and dock like other major systems, in the way you'd treat a roof or HVAC. Florida waterfront is amazing, but it's not forgiving if you buy the wrong version of it. And if you want to go deeper on this, Florida seawall and dock upkeep is a real homeowner category, not just a one-time event. The fifth type of home I avoid is the condo, where you're buying the unit but inheriting the building's financial problems. This is one of the most misunderstood purchases in Florida. People think condos are easy. Sometimes they are, but condos can be one of the fastest ways to get surprised by fees, insurance increases, or special assessments, because your risk isn't just the inside of your walls. The risk is the entire building. So before you buy a condo in Florida, you want to treat the building like it's its own investment. You want to understand the reserve situation, the maintenance plan, the insurance situation, and a realistic likelihood of assessments. This became an even bigger deal after the Surfside collapse in Miami, when Florida condo rules and reserve expectations tightened significantly and then continued evolving. And those changes have directly impacted costs for owners. Here's the simplest way to think about it. A great condo building has financial clarity. A risky condo building has financial fog. If you're hearing vague answers, if reserves are thin, if the building is facing major repairs, if the insurance situation is unstable, that's when a cheap condo becomes an expensive condo. Now let me bring this home with a simple way to use this video. If you take nothing else from this, take this. In Florida, you win by eliminating risk early. You don't need to see 50 homes, you just need to avoid the 5 categories that can turn homeownership into a stress test. So when you find the house that you love online, do a quick red flag scan first. Zoom out on the map, check the flood exposure and the daily life friction. Verify the roof and wind protection story. Respect older plumbing. Underwrite waterfront like a marine purchase, and treat condos like you're buying the whole building, not just an individual unit. If you want help doing this in a clean, repeatable way, I made a simple Florida red flag checklist that you can run in a few minutes before you ever get emotionally attached to a property. I'll put it in the description and you can grab it for free. If you're planning to move to Florida, or you're already here and you want to buy smarter, make sure to subscribe, because I break down the real cost drivers, the lifestyle trade-offs, and the mistakes people don't realize they make until it's too late. I'm Joel Poulin, Palm Beach real estate broker. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.